BBC Learning English. Everyday English, every day.
Hello and welcome to Entertainment. I'm William Kramer. Today I'm very excited because we're going to be hearing from one of my very favourite comedians, Gene Wilder. If you're a fan of the crazy comedies of Mel Brooks, you'll know Gene Wilder by his great mop of curly hair. Gene Wilder worked with Mel Brooks on films including Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein and The Producers. Recently, Mel Brooks made The Producers into a stage musical, and it was a huge success in New York and London. It was, we would say, a hit musical. Now Mel Brooks is working on a stage version of Young Frankenstein. We're going to hear a clip from an interview with Gene Wilder, who wrote the screenplay for this film and who starred in it. In this clip, he describes what happened when Mel Brooks told him about his plans to turn Young Frankenstein into a musical. See if you can work out what Gene Wilder thought about this idea.
I thought over my dead body, and I thought, you don't do anything to desecrate in any way the film of Young Frankenstein, which is my favorite film that I've done.
Well, the answer is that he really didn't want Mel Brooks to go ahead with the production. At the start of the clip, you might have heard quite a common phrase which we use when we really don't want something to happen.
I thought over my dead body.
Over my dead body. This means, if you want to do that, you will have to kill me first. When people say it, they aren't really ready to die, but they usually are very angry about something.
I thought over my dead body.
Gene Wilder was worried that if Mel Brooks made his musical, he would spoil the original film of Young Frankenstein.
BBC LearningEnglish.com.
These two old friends, Gene Wilder and Mel Brooks, started to argue about Young Frankenstein. As you listen to the next clip, see if you can hear what the meaning of borscht belt is.
And he got on the phone, he started hollering, yelling, well, you can't and tell me all the things why. And I told him why. You're a Borscht Belt comic and a genius, but this is not, I didn't write Borscht Belt. Borscht Belt means in the Catskills, all the comics used to go there to try out their material, and a lot of Jewish comics, and they all drank borscht, so it's called the Borscht Belt. But I said, that's not my kind of humor.
The Borscht Belt is a place in the United States, in the Catskill Mountains. But where does the name come from?
Borscht Belt means in the Catskills, all the comics used to go there to try out their material, and a lot of Jewish comics, and they all drank borscht, so it's called the Borscht Belt. But I said, that's not my kind of humor.
Jewish comics used to go to the Catskills to try out their material. In this context, material means their routines, their jokes. These comics would try out their material in the Catskills, and they would all drink borscht, a soup which is usually made from beetroot. So the Catskills are sometimes called the Borscht Belt. OK, I know this isn't very useful English, but it's interesting, isn't it? Borscht Belt comics have their own kind of very fast, clever humour. Gene Wilder told Mel Brooks that Mel was a great Borscht Belt comic. But, he said, that wasn't his kind of humour. Before we hear the next clip, do you remember what the word for a very successful production or a very successful movie or song was? A hit. Now let me tell you what the opposite of a hit is. A flop. A production which is a flop doesn't make enough money. There's also a verb form. We can say, the production flopped. OK, now see if you can work out what Gene Wilder decided to do.
And I thought, what am I saying? I want him to be happy, and he needs to work. If he really wants to do this, I have nothing to lose, because If it flops, they're not going to blame me. But if it's a big hit, Mel said, so you'll make a few bucks.
Gene Wilder decided to let Mel Brooks turn Young Frankenstein into a musical. He said he wanted Mel to be happy. He also said he realized he had nothing to lose. If the stage version of Young Frankenstein flopped, no one would blame him. But if it was a hit, he'd make some money. Or as Mel Brooks said, he'd make a few bucks, a few dollars.
If he really wants to do this, I have nothing to lose, because if it flops, they're not going to blame me. But if it's a big hit, Mel said, so you'll make a few bucks.
Somehow, I don't think Young Frankenstein will be a flop. If you've seen the film, you'll know that it's just too clever and too silly to be anything other than a hit. Bye for now.
bbclearningenglish.com